Let the games begin.
In 3, 2.
Today we're going to examine the most important component of your puzzles and the one that my spell check hates: portalable surfaces. Many of these will seem obvious to veterans, but an effective level designer must be aware of all of them. Even if you don't learn something new, this video may serve as a useful reference guide. Number 1, gain visibility. Our first use for portals doesn't even require walking through one. The very first portal in the original game was deliberately positioned so that you can see Chell through the portal. This gives the player a frame of reference to understand the positional relationship of the two portals. Peeking through a portal can also show the player what's in another room, even in cases where you don't permit the player to portal for navigation. Number 2. Teleportation. The most obvious use of portalable walls is traversing from one location to another, granting maneuverability to the player. This allows players to move through barriers such as grates, laser fields, pits, and so forth. Two-way portals are by far the most common method, letting the player leave one area and return to it at will. But don't underestimate the power of one-way portals, which substantially increase puzzle complexity and can create real brain busters. One superb use of the one-way portal is allowing the player to return to the start of the puzzle from multiple locations. Number 3, transportation. The next obvious use for portals is the relocation of objects from one area to another. This becomes particularly noteworthy in cases where the player cannot also use the same portal. Cubes are the most commonly transported object, but portals can also move gels, and in cooperative play, your partner in science becomes another object to be shifted about. Number 4, flinging. Flinging is, of course, the practice of using portals to gain velocity. Genre-savvy players can use this technique to circumvent all kinds of barriers, so you should be careful not to allow this unless it's an intended part of your solution. Number 5, oscillating. In the world of Portal, oscillation is flinging's older brother. When one area permits one half of a fling, and the next area permits the other half, oscillation is the answer. Number 6, extending elements. In addition to moving objects and gels, portals can be used to extend linear puzzle elements, lasers, light bridges, and excursion funnels. Among these, excursion funnels are the most dangerous to give the player because they have many uses, which we will of course cover in a future video. Keep in mind that this extension works even when the player can't use the portal for travel. Number 7, portal climbing. I don't recommend building puzzles around this technique, but as a designer, you should be aware of it, if only to prevent it. When the player has access to a mobility aid like a light bridge and a portalable wall, he can gain elevation by shifting his portal up in small increments. This kind of gimmick brings us to number 8, portal bumping. Just like portal climbing, puzzle designers should be aware of the risks of portal bumping. To prevent portal bumping, make sure your barriers connect with unportalable walls, or as we discovered in episode 1, pair your barrier with light strips if you want to taunt the player with more portalable surfaces. Number 9, face the player in a desired direction. This is my favorite technique in puzzle design. By limiting where the player can go next, a careful designer can face the player exactly the direction you want when she emerges from the portal. You can use this method to show off your chamber design, orient the player towards a specific goal, or even disorient the player if you want to emphasize the bizarre nature of aperture science. Number 10, create atmosphere. Rooms with high portalability feel distinctly different from their opposite. Not only do they appear brighter, but they are easier to navigate as well. Be careful, rooms like these are easy to abuse. Number 11, design and decorate. Just like lights, portalable walls can be used to give your puzzle a distinct visual design. Sure, this can be cheesy, but it doesn't have to be. When using portalability in this fashion, you should playtest thoroughly to be sure that your visual design doesn't break your puzzle. The best puzzles of all integrate visual design with their intended solution. And finally, add complexity. Knowing that there's an upper limit to the number of elements you can cram into a puzzle, think of portals as an element which doesn't count against the total. In terms of rendering, it's just a differently textured surface, yet we've already examined how portals affect every aspect of gameplay. Some puzzle makers think you should make as few portalable walls as possible. This can lead to very precise chambers, but also to chambers where the solution is easily spotted. Personally, I think you should feel free to give the player as many portals as possible wherever they won't help. As a designer, this makes you seem fearless of the portal gun, as you should be, and it makes the player feel empowered while making the solution less obvious. Specifically, you should use fully portalable walls when you want the player to consider which directions work to his advantage, but use targeted portal locations when you want the player to think about the exact order of events. In the comments, let me know if you hadn't thought of one of these uses, or if there's one that you'd forgotten, or which one was your favorite, or especially let me know if there are any that I forgot. Also, feel free to post links to your puzzles that take advantage of these techniques so we can demonstrate them even better for future puzzle designers. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.